After another heartbreaking loss last night to the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Chicago Bulls still try to remain focused and keep their eyes on the prize, and that is making the playoffs. We're going to break down everything you need to know in this episode of Bulls Digest. I'm your host, Joey Mercer, and before we get into it there today, I just want to say that about 80% of you that watch these videos are not subscribed, so if you aren't already subscribed to the channel, make sure to go down below, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell for notifications, and every single time we upload, you can stay up to date with our takes on your favorite team, the Chicago Bulls. So without further ado, let's get into the topic at hand there today, and that is road to the playoffs. So, it is basically the road to the playoffs now. I mean, it's the all-star break now for the Bulls after one more game against the Celtics, and then it will just be every single game down to the wire to see if they make that final playoff spot. They seem to be destined for a play-in team right now, but with such a tight-knit race, they could definitely get into a playoff spot if they go on a bit of a hot streak. It looked like a sign of good things to come after a big win against the Hawks, but the red-hot Cleveland Cavaliers had other plans in mind, but the Bulls only lost by 3 points, which is a good sign of things to come, in my opinion. You could actually see that Donovan Mitchell talked about Coby White last night and said he's gotten better. To see the growth, the confidence, you can see it in his eyes. There's the look like he belongs here. He deserves to be playing like this. I have the utmost respect for his game and for him. And that's big praise coming from Donovan Mitchell. That must mean a lot for Coby White to hear a all-star in this league saying that he's there, he belongs here. All the work that Coby White has put in this offseason has been drastic. A drastic change to his game. And honestly, nothing but the best for Coby White. It's been phenomenal watching him on the court as of late, and he had another great game as of last night, and did miss a big three at the end, but overall the game was absolutely phenomenal. I can't blame that loss on him. The Bulls played great last night. You can see here the start of this article by Sports Illustrated when we talk more about the playoffs is Alex Caruso takes the lead in grooming the Bulls' competitive form. I've got to try and pull guys with me. Caruso is making sure that the Bulls are ready and equipped for the daunting road ahead to the playoffs. So, he understands exactly what it's all about. Caruso won a championship with the Lakers in the 2020 bubble, and although it might have been a bubble championship, he understands what it takes to make it in the playoffs, to be in that atmosphere, and understands what the Bulls need to do now that they're in this play-in spot, kind of in a nowhere land that you want to be. That play-in spot is not exactly where a team wants to be, but the Heat were in it last year. We lost to the Heat, and they made it all the way to the finals. The Bulls don't have the same team that the Heat have. However, I do think that if the Bulls can get a playoff spot, they can make some noise. Would it be a first-round exit? Maybe, but the team has made their fate after not making any moves at the deadline, so we have to accept what's going to happen and just try to move forward with it. Next thing we saw in this one was after they didn't move any of their core players and just stood pat in the season's trade period, the Chicago Bulls have nowhere to go but to continue following their current path. Despite currently standing at a complicated spot as the Eastern Conference 9th seed with a 26-28 record, now 26-29, the Bulls remain poised and optimistic about their desire to compete. And within this unwavering will that the team is demonstrating is Alex Caruso providing the voice and guiding light. That's exactly what you want from a leader, so good thing to see Caruso still here and willing to give that guidance to the team. AC leading the way. As he holds the team's leadership position, AC stands firm on what the Bulls must achieve this season, so they consider it a success. Caruso has put it on himself to urge everyone that their journey to the playoffs should not be cut short despite numerous setbacks. I've got to try and pull guys with me, Caruso said, per Joe Cowley of Chicago's Sun-Times. That's something I've tried to echo the last couple games. At some point in games, someone is going to be struggling, whether they're not making shots or giving up easy buckets. You've got to pull them with you. And that's spoken like a true leader. I think Vucevic has done a really good job being a leader in this situation. And when it comes to playoff pedigree, we have to mention DeMar DeRozan. I know people have discredited him and said that he hasn't been the greatest player in the playoffs, but he did make it to back-to-back Eastern Conference Finals with the Toronto Raptors. LeBron, obviously we know what happened there. The Cavs got past the Raptors pretty handily, but he still made it pretty deep in the playoffs. The Raptors were actually the best team in the Eastern Conference one of those years, record-wise, and that's pretty damn good to see. I mean, it's great to see DeRozan was a part of that team with Kyle Lowry, and they really had something going good in Toronto, and were obviously eventually able to make the trade for Kawhi and win a championship. It had to be at the expense of DeMar, but DeMar definitely understands what needs to be done, and has definitely had a lot of time to think about that. That's been, 7-8 years since the last time he's made a deep playoff run. The only other time he's made the playoffs in a solid run has been, of course, with the Bulls in 2021. He had one stint with the Spurs, but not too much happening there. The next thing that we saw in this one that's the leadership aspect of this. We pull each other up, and honestly, I like our chances. And that's the continuation of what AC was saying there at the end. Continue the fight. Before heading to the All-Star break, the Bulls still have to battle both the Cleveland Cavaliers, which was the game we spoke of that happened last night, and the Boston Celtics. Facing the current top two teams of the East this season requires them a tremendous effort to pull off. And facing Boston is going to be a struggle. Boston's the best team in the entire NBA right now, in my opinion, and they definitely aren't going to be an easy win. But if we can get a win over Boston before the All-Star break, that is going to give us a lot of momentum after the All-Star break and propel us to where we need to be. If we can get those big wins against the top teams, it'll seem like easy sailing for the rest of the year. But you also need to win those games against the bottom-feeding teams, the Charlottes, the Washingtons, all those teams at the very bottom of the league. You have to beat those guys as well, and handily, might I add. If they can get this win against Boston, I cannot express how crucial that is. Then I expect the Bulls to have a solid post-All-Star break. If we lose after just losing to Cleveland, and it's a blowout loss at that, I do have a lot of worries on the table for the Bulls going towards the playoffs. The last thing we saw in this article was, nevertheless, Alex is unfazed about the other upcoming challenges and uncertainty that await them. With the remaining 20-plus games set to determine both their season and future, we've still got to come back after the All-Star break and play 20-some games, Caruso said. There's still a lot in front of us to play for. And absolutely, I mean, it's anybody's race. I don't think the NBA right now is near what it was when we had the Cavs and the Warriors. Even the Heat and the Spurs, different teams like that. We don't really have these solidified teams that I believe in. Even the Celtics have had some playoff success, but tend to choke down the line, especially Tatum and Brown. So I don't know how much I believe that they're going to be able to do it this year. They have added Kristaps and Drew Holiday, but they're going to have to show me something before I really believe in it. Even in the West, I mean, the Timberwolves, this is the first time they've been that high, and the same thing with the Oklahoma City Thunder. So it's really an open contest. So if I were the Bulls, definitely, if you're making this playoff push, like I said, they've decided their fate at that trade deadline. You need to make as big a push as you can, because it really is more open than most years, and it's not a very good draft class, I understand. So make the best out of these last 20-something games. Push to the playoffs, get in the playoffs, have a solid first round, see what type of noise you can make, show everybody that they're wrong, show them that you can play in the playoffs, and hopefully that we can take home something in the playoffs, maybe a miraculous Cinderella run, and if not, on to next season for sure, but hopefully it will be a better one at that as the younger players get better and we can make some moves come this offseason. This has been your host, Joey Mercer. I hope you enjoyed the episode there today. If you did, make sure to go down below, like and comment on the video. I'd like to hear from all you guys, of course. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all in the next one. Signing out.